lovely people, my name is Lucille and welcome to Love July day number 3. So the other day I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Colleen Kelly, and she made a video about how she likes cartoons and what cartoons she watched. And I was like, you know who else who likes cartoons? Emma. And I do. I'm 16 years old and I still thoroughly enjoy watching cartoons. So today, as a chill kind of video, I thought I'd just sit down and tell you about some of the ones I like and highly recommend and why I like them. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1 on my list is actually a cartoon series that was created on YouTube. It ended up moving onto another platform, which is really unfortunate because you have to pay for that platform and it's only available in the US. But the first 2 seasons are for free on YouTube, and this cartoon is called Bravest Warriors. This story follows a group of 4 teenagers. All their parents used to be a team, just like how they are, and basically they don't know where their parents are, but they go on all these adventures together, they start finding out things about their past, and they have such a wonderful group dynamic, and it's a really silly and like fun kind of show that tends to be one of the ones where, yes, you can pretty much drop in on any episode and it'll make sense, but there is a storyline that starts to develop and it's really interesting, and I really love this show. Not only are the colors and atmospheres so beautiful, but also the characters are so unique and fun to watch, and the actual plot that starts developing quite slowly but eventually is thoroughly interesting. Each episode is actually pretty short, but put them together and I'm pretty sure each season is about an hour and a half long, so that gives you 3 hours worth of an amazing cartoon to watch for free. Next cartoon I'm going to talk about is Teen Titans. And no, I'm not talking about Teen Titans Go, because that is unforbidden. We do not speak of Teen Titans Go. No. Teen Titans, the original cartoon, of course, is again so wonderful, and I actually only very recently started getting into it, and by very recently I mean literally a week ago, so I haven't even finished this one, but my siblings, because it started in I think 2003, my siblings, a couple of them have actually watched the whole thing. Like my oldest brother, who's 25 might I add, still loves this show, and for good reason. He's actually the one who made me watch the first episode, and for a while I didn't watch it after that, but recently I was like, I'm gonna try it, and I'm so happy I did. In a way, it slightly actually reminds me of Bravest Warriors, because again, it's a group of teenagers who like have superpowers or super abilities that they used to do good, but in another way, it's completely not the same as Bravest Warriors. Of course, the animation style for this one is different from the others because different cartoons will have different animation styles, but again, as with all of these, I do really like the animation style. And again, of course, I really like the characters. I love their headquarters and the kind of like feel the characters give off when they're together. It's the kind of interaction you just love to watch. It's like, oh, there's the dorks being dorks again. It's just so fun to watch, and also even now as a 16-year-old, the kind of show where you look at the characters and you're like, man, I wish I was a teenager with superpowers fighting crime. This one has a lot of fighting and action scenes, and it's kind of a mix because there are different villains every episode, like smaller villains, but they're all being like overruled or overlooked by one, and that's kind of set apart from other cartoons because some cartoons are just, you know, fun to watch, but there's not really a villain, or like there'll be a conflict and issue but not a villain. But this is one of those cartoons where there's action and there's villains and a developing storyline slowly but gradually, and if you like that, then this one would be for you, and I really like it. The next one of the 4 main ones that I'm going to talk about is probably the one that people know the best, and that would be Rick and Morty. I know that the majority of people in my grade and my friends have either seen or are currently watching this show or want to watch this show. I know my siblings have. I know a lot of adults like it because there's some very adult themes and adult kind of humor in this show, and that's what makes it it's so dark, but in such a bright universe, is how I would describe it. If you take a second to stop actually laughing at how hilarious this show is, you realize that a lot of the plot and a lot of the themes are actually so dark. Like, there's this one scene where literally Rick and Morty go into one of their other universes where they died, and they bury their own bodies and then pretend as if they never died, and they just live in this new universe as Rick and Morty, as if they never died, and they keep living their life with their family like nothing happened. It's like, so if you just take that, it sounds absolutely miserable and dark, but then once put it in the context of the show, it's so hilarious. And that's one of the things that I love so much about this, because there's times where I don't know whether to laugh or be like, well, shit, so I kind of just do both. Though I do love the two main characters of the show, Rick and Morty. My favorite characters, and one thing I have to give huge props to the show for doing, is introducing small characters who are only there, you know, one episode or a couple episodes, like the Meeseeks, or John Oliver was in this show for an episode, or like there's this one episode where their home basically gets invaded by a ton of mythical creatures, and every episode never fails to introduce a new brilliant character or a new brilliant idea, and it's always forever changing, and that's something that's great, because whenever you sit down to watch an episode, you never really know exactly what you're gonna get next, and I really, really love it. Unlike the other two, it's definitely the most mature one out of the ones I'm gonna talk about today. And finally, my personal favorite, I love this one so much, despite the fact that it literally has one season and only 10 episodes in that season. It just speaks to me so much. I can't even describe how much I love this one. I really it's one of those shows you just want to throw all your money at. Like, I doubt they're gonna make a season 2, because it took 3 years, I think, for the first season to finally finish, but I can't seem to get over it, despite the fact that it is unlikely that it will continue, and it took so long for the first one to even come out in general. But I love it, and this would be Bee and Puppy Cat. Bee and Puppy Cat, again, was a YouTube created comic on the same channel as Bravest Warriors, and the channel is called Cartoon Hangover, and they would make a bunch of cartoons on there. But again, like Bravest Warriors, they ended up switching platforms halfway through the first season onto VRV, which is the platform that you can only access through the US and costs money. But I found a way to watch the rest of this season, unlike Bravest Warriors. So if you do intend on watching this, I can actually tell you how to finish this season, and that is the first part of the season, like I said, is free on YouTube, and the second part is free, but you have to go to the Bee and Puppy Cat Facebook page, where they stream episodes, I think 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all on there. So the final part of the season is all on Facebook for free, but that's the alternative to having to pay for the rest of season 1. So I would definitely recommend doing that if you want to watch it. I don't even know where to start with all the reasons I love the show. Firstly, the characters. Out of all of these shows, just my favorite characters in general, because there's not one I dislike. I love Bee. She's this girl who's a young adult trying to find her place in this world, but she doesn't really know how to be a functioning human. She's very, very socially awkward and has a lot of social anxiety as well, but her love for people and the world and animals and just everything around her makes her so special, and I love her character, and especially the way she interacts with this character who's introduced, which is Puppy Cat. So these two characters end up being best friends, and they go on all these adventures together. Every episode they go to this place called Fishbowl Space, where they are assigned missions, and they get these uniform assignments, and then they pretty much go on different adventures through outer space, but every adventure is far different from the last and far more unique and diverse as it goes along. It just gets better and better. And this is one of the ones where at the end of the first 2 episodes / first segment of the episode, you find out this big plot reveal, and then the show proceeds to pretty much not look at that big plot twist for like the entire season. So it starts off, you find out this thing, which I'm not going to tell you because you should watch it, and you're like, wow, that's so shocking, I want to know how, I want to know why. But then pretty much episodes after that until the very end are just like their adventures. There's not really that much meaning or plot development. And I was okay with that, just because I love the characters in the universe so much that honestly I would watch any episode. So I thought they were gonna like not ever address or continue developing that plot, but you just have to be patient, because at the end of episode 10, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get hit with a giant plot twist and plot device. It's like right when you'd kind of forgotten about like the whole big plot twist they introduced at the start, they throw something in your face and then it just ends. And as far as the producers have said, there's unlikely it's going to be a season 2, which just leaves you on not one but 2 giant cliffhangers, and it really does develop. And I've rewatched this show twice, so I've seen it 3 times now. And now looking back, I can see themes or like little Easter eggs or things that hinted or things that I just never noticed the first time that just make it so much better for me. I'm so upset that I know I'm not going to get a season 2, but despite that, this show will always hold a place in my heart. It's truly like a treasure of cartoons. That goes with all of these though, so if you watch any of these and you love them as much as I do, then you can leave me a comment down below and we can talk about them together, because that is the whole point of this video, which I wanted to get across in the end, that watching cartoons is a good thing. It's perfectly normal and healthy to enjoy them, despite the fact that I'm not a child, or even if you are a child, it's escape from reality. It's a colorful place that, like, you could only dream up in your imagination, but now you can watch on TV. It's somewhere you wish you could go, but it gives you a sense of your childhood and adventure that a lot of normal TV shows could not do for you. It's a set of unique characters who are extremely relatable or just so easy to fall in love with. And it's a safe kind of universe, you know, you can always come back to. Despite everything that's going on, you will always have this crazy cartoon universe to make you smile when you need to smile or make you laugh when you need to laugh. And that's why I think regardless of how old I will ever be, I will always like cartoons. And to my oldest brother, who is 25, and like me, Julian, loves cartoons, I love you, and I love our mutual love for cartoons. I love being able to talk about these things, and I love that you introduced me to these things, and I love that you and him are living proof and evidence of the fact that you should not be ashamed to watch cartoons just because you're an adult. It's wonderful, and it inspires so much creativity. My brother Julian is one of the most creative and like inspiring people I know. And I think that's part of the reason he likes these shows, because they're so creative and so inspiring and so different and unique, and they just spur so many ideas within you. And that's why I love cartoons, was the moral of this video. So I hope that this weird, chill little segment where I just sit and talk about cartoons was fun to watch, and that you liked it. So if you did like it, be sure to like it, because it would mean a lot to me. And if you want to see when I make a new video, be sure to subscribe down below to join our wonderful little family, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Love you, bye!